Jane Carter, 22 years old, was the good one, a sociology student at Goldsmiths University, living at home in Croydon to save rent, a pillar of family trust. Her father, Martin Carter, 50, a logistics manager who valued integrity above all else, had always been proud. But Jane was hiding a secret, a quiet dollar, texterling, 1,800 online gambling debt spiraling out of control. The moment of betrayal came 2 days ago. Martin had entrusted her with a signed texterling $2,500 business check, asking her to deposit it. Instead of the bank, Jane had met a back-alley contact near East Croydon Station, using the check to pay her debt and a hefty interest, promising herself she'd replace the funds later. That lie collapsed during Sunday lunch. Aunt Carol, 60, Uncle Derek, 62, and sharp-eyed cousin Priya, 28, watched as Martin slowly questioned Jane. When the truth I gambled, Dad, and I stole the money to cover it finally emerged. The air froze. Martin pushed back his chair. "Family stays," he commanded the relatives. Then he led Jane into the hallway, shutting the door just enough to ensure the subsequent sounds would carry the agonizing message of broken trust to everyone in the house. Asterisk. Jane Carter, 22 years old, had maintained a meticulous facade. She was studying sociology at Goldsmiths, aiding her younger adult brother with his studies, and upholding the strict values instilled by her father. Martin, 50. Honesty, responsibility, and the sanctity of the family name. Their semi-detached home on Beulah Hill in Croydon was a quiet testament to this order, but university life had pressures Martin didn't see. The online betting app, downloaded during a tedious lockdown, had become a silent, crushing addiction. The debt was texterling $1,800, a weight that eroded her integrity daily. The opportunity for a desperate, final lie arrived 2 days prior. Martin, 50, sipping his builder's tea over breakfast, handed her a signed business check for texterling $2,500. "Client payment," he'd said simply. "Pop it into NatWest before 3 p.m. You're the only one I trust with this." Jane, 22, had kissed him on the cheek, a final hollow gesture of affection, and tucked the check into her tote bag. Instead of the bank, she went to a back-alley meeting near East Croydon Station, handing the check over to Liam, 23, a smug third-year student who deposited it, deducting her debt plus interest. She lied to herself. "I'll replace it before he notices." Time, however, ran out on Sunday. Sunday lunch at the Carters was a fixed weekly ritual. Roast beef, Yorkshire puddings, steamed greens, and the necessary awkward small talk only British families mastered. Today, the stakes were impossibly high with the presence of Aunt Carol, 60, and Uncle Derek, 62, who had driven down from Manchester, along with their daughter, Priya, 28. Priya, Jane's sharp-eyed cousin, worked in corporate compliance and missed absolutely nothing. Jane, 22, had dressed carefully in an effort to project normalcy. A soft pink-aligned midi skirt from Other Stories, a crisp white blouse, and tan ankle boots. Her hair was pulled into a low ponytail, though a few strands already clung to her damp temples. Her smile was tight, her phone face down, a barrier she hoped was invisible. "Jane's doing so well at uni," Aunt Carol said, passing the gravy. "Martin, you must be so proud." Martin, 50, beamed. "She's got her head screwed on, right? Unlike some I could mention." He winked at Priya, who rolled her eyes good-naturedly. "Actually," Priya, 28, said lightly, cutting a slice of beef, "I saw Jane near that new betting shop on George Street yesterday. Looked like she was meeting someone." The room went instantly still. Jane's fork clattered against her plate. Martin turned slowly, his expression shifting from pride to confusion. "Is that right, love?" Her throat tightened. I just walked past on my way to the library. Funny, Priya continued, sensing the lie but maintaining her light tone. Because you were handing over an envelope. Looked official. Martin's suspicion hardened. Jane, did you deposit that check? She swallowed hard, unable to meet his gaze. Yes, right after lunch. Like you asked. He studied her. The trembling hands, the two bright eyes, the obvious effort to control her breathing. Look me in the eye and say it again. She couldn't. The silence stretched, filled only by the patter of rain against the bay window. Finally, in a whisper, the lie was confessed. I used it to pay off a debt. A debt? Martin's voice was dangerously calm, low. I gambled, Dad. I didn't mean to. It started small, but I got in too deep. I was going to fix it. I swear, Aunt Carol gasped. Uncle Derek cleared his throat and stood. We should probably go. Family stays, Martin interrupted, his voice cutting through the tension, not taking his eyes off Jane. He pushed his chair back. Come with me. Martin, 50, closed the dining room door softly behind them, but not completely, just enough to give the illusion of privacy while ensuring the message would carry. Jane, 22, stood frozen in the hallway. The smell of roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, a cruel contrast to the tension thickening around them. It's not about the money, Jane, he interrupted, stepping closer. It's about the lie. It's about taking money entrusted to you, money from my business, to cover a self-inflicted addiction. You betrayed my professional and my parental trust, all in front of your family. His words landed like stones. She flinched, unable to look away. He turned and opened the narrow drawer beneath the telephone, stand a place for spare keys and old bills. At the very back, he retrieved the wooden hairbrush. It wasn't fancy. Dark-stained oak, smooth from years of use, with a worn leather strap tied around the handle. Jane remembered it from childhood. Not often used, but always present, a silent reminder of absolute boundaries. Her stomach clenched. Please, not like this. Not in front of them. He held the brush in one hand, its weight familiar. Bend over the chair. Hands on the seat. He indicated the sturdy hallway chair they used for taking off shoes. Jane's pride warred with absolute shame, but she saw the look in his eyes, solid, grieving, and utterly resolute. She obeyed. Her pink skirt pulled tight across her backside, the fabric thin and offering no real barrier. She gripped the edge of the seat, knuckles white. This is not because I don't love you, Martin said quietly, standing behind her. It's because I do, and because I refuse to let you. At 22 years old, become someone who thinks lies have no cost. Then the first stroke fell. Thwack. It wasn't brutal, but it was sharp, deliberate, and unmistakable. Jane gasped, her body jerking forward. The sting bloomed instantly, hot and humiliating. 2, he said, and struck again, firmer this time, landing just below the first. She cried out, tears spilling over. 3, for gambling like it was a game when real lives and careers are at stake. She sobbed now, shoulders shaking. I didn't mean to. 4, for lying to my face when I asked you directly. 5, for making me doubt everything I believed about my own daughter. She was weeping openly now, her face pressed into her forearm. From the dining room, there was only silence. That conscious silence was worse than any comment. 6, Martin said, his voice thick with emotion, for breaking this family's trust in front of people who look up to you. The final stroke landed with controlled, ultimate force. It was final. He set the brush down on the console table. Then, gently, he placed a hand on her back. Stand up, Jane. She rose slowly, her legs unsteady, cheeks streaked with tears. Her white blouse was rumpled, her ponytail half undone. He cupped her chin and lifted it until their eyes met. His own were glistening with pain. "I love you," he said, voice rough. "But you have to understand, trust isn't given twice. You earn it back with truth every single day." He squeezed her shoulder once, then nodded toward the stairs. "Go wash your face. Then we'll talk about getting you proper help." Upstairs, Jane, 22, locked her bedroom door and sank onto her bed. Her back stung, but the deeper ache was the realization that she had lost the most valuable asset in their British household, her father's belief in her integrity. Downstairs, Martin, 50, returned to the dining room. Aunt Carol was already standing, her coat on. "Martin, are you all right?" He nodded, though his hand shook as he poured himself a whiskey. "She's got a problem, and I didn't see it." "She's young," Uncle Derek said gently. "Mistakes happen, but not lies like this," Martin replied, his voice low and firm. "Not with a business check. Not in this house." Later, after the relatives left, he sat alone in the darkened kitchen. On the table lay the check stub, 2,500 pounds gone. Worse was the photo on the fridge. Jane at 16, grinning in her school blazer, holding a certificate for most responsible student. He picked up his phone and immediately searched for Gambling Addiction Support London. He bookmarked 3 helplines. His logistics manager mind focused on the problem at hand. Upstairs, Jane, 22, stared at her reflection. She opened her laptop, typed Gamcare into the browser, and clicked Live Chat. No words were exchanged between father and daughter that night, but in the quiet of their separate rooms, both took the first step, not toward easy forgiveness, but toward the hard work of repair. The road ahead would not be easy. Trust once broken in a household where reputation and word still mattered was harder to rebuild than a shattered vase. But in that rainy Croydon evening, beneath the weight of shame and love, the mending had begun. The silence was gone, replaced by searching, by planning, and by the courage to face what they'd both ignored. And in a family like theirs, that shared, honest commitment was enough to start Dot in this specific cultural context that values integrity highly. Was Martin's, 50, decision to administer the consequence, publicly, by not fully closing the door, necessary to emphasize the severity of the betrayal of the family name? Now that Jane, 22, has faced the consequence, what is the single most important action she must take to begin rebuilding her father's professional and personal trust?